Hello, I'm Father Joe Roesch of the Marian Fathers of the Immaculate Conception. Thank you for joining us as we continue with our year-long journey reading the diary of St. Maria Faustina Kowalska from beginning to end. Today we have a note from Father Sopoćko to Sister Faustina from December of 1936. Reverend Sister, I hasten to send you my most sincere wishes for Christmas and the New Year. Above all, I wish you good health and ever more abundant divine graces to obtain, by your entreaties, God's mercy for the world. Sharing the wafer with you is a symbol of peace and heavenly love. I commend myself to your prayers. Reverend Michał Sopoćko, Vilnius, 24th of December, 1936. Father Sopoćko returns St. Faustina's greetings for Christmas and the New Year in a very short note. He prays for her health and that God would pour out many graces on her so that she'd have the strength to continue interceding for the world, seeking God's mercy. He shares the traditional Polish Christmas wafer with her. A small wafer was inserted into the letter. This is a rectangular it's like a Eucharistic host, but it's not consecrated, and it's very traditional for the Poles to break a piece and share it with one another as they give Christmas greetings each year. He calls it a symbol of peace and heavenly love, and he asks for her prayers. Now, since this was such a short note, I'd like to take this opportunity to say a few things about Father Sopoćko. Like St. Faustina, he was one of 10 children. He also had to work in the fields when he was growing up, and his family made sure that he received at least an elementary education at first. Eventually it became clear that he would be able to go on and study for the priesthood. He was 17 years older than St. Faustina, so at the end of her life, when she was 33, he was 50. As a young priest, he served as a military chaplain in Warsaw. Now, Blessed George Matulaitis, who was the renovator of my congregation, the Marian Fathers, was the Bishop of Vilnius from 1918 to 1925. Father Sopoćko belonged to that diocese, but at the time he was working in Warsaw. Now, Blessed George needed priests in his diocese, especially his own diocesan priests who weren't working there, because many of the priests at that time were becoming politically involved with one faction or another during the difficult years after the First World War. There was the Bolshevik Revolution at that time and many other challenges and complications. Now, Father Sopoćko was working in Warsaw. He at first said, I can't come back because I have to take care of a church here in Warsaw, but he ended up agreeing to come back to Vilnius in 1924 when Blessed George promised to send some of our Marian Fathers to serve at the church where Father Sopoćko had been working. In this way, Father Sopoćko was back in Vilnius, where he eventually became St. Faustina's spiritual director for 3 years in the 1930s. He became the confessor for the sisters in 1932, and he was St. Faustina's spiritual director from 1933 till 1936. St. Faustina had actually seen Father Sopoćko in a vision before he became her confessor and spiritual director, so the Lord prepared her. Now, Father Sopoćko didn't know what to make of her at first when she began telling him during confession that Jesus was appearing to her. Let's listen to this excerpt from the diary of Father Sopoćko. There have been truths known, heard, and talked about, but do we really understand them? This was my position as far as divine mercy was concerned. I mentioned it in preaching, I prayed it in church, but did not grasp the real meaning of that truth. I did not really study its essence, which says it is the greatest attribute of God. To meet and get to know that humble nun, Sister Faustina, from the convent of the Mother of God, the Magdalene sisters, was so necessary for me then. It was Sister Faustina who revealed that truth to me. She repeated it often, which made me feel eager to research what she spoke about. It led me to study and think about that truth. I cannot cite here the details of our talks, but I can mention that at the beginning I did not understand what it was all about. I listened, doubted, wondered, did research, and asked others for advice, until some time passed, and then I grasped the significance of the greatest attribute of God, and I convinced myself of the effectiveness of that neglected truth, which needed to be renewed in our time as an important, constant devotion on life's journey to mankind's salvation. Trust in the divine mercy, spreading the devotion among others, and the entire message, my thoughts, words, and deeds concerning the divine mercy, will be the main driving force for the rest of my life, hopefully without looking for myself in it all, and supported by the endless mercy of God. The Magdalene Sisters was another name for the community of St. Faustina, the Sisters of Our Lady of Mercy. So St. Faustina actually helped Father Sopoćko to appreciate the depths of the mystery of God's mercy, and, as he wrote, he would spend the rest of his life promoting the mystery of the divine mercy. It's interesting that he also said, hopefully without looking for myself in it at all. So we see a reflection of what he said to St. Faustina, to be careful of self-love, self-centeredness. We're not promoting the divine mercy to promote ourselves, but to bring people closer to God. Well, we'll hear more about Father Sopoćko in future podcasts. We've also gotten to know him a bit during these podcasts, so let's ask Blessed Michael Sopoćko to intercede for us, that we too can become apostles of the divine mercy.